Good morning, friends. I have another biography to share with you. I tried to record it the other day, but for some reason my download didn't work. So I'm going to give it another go. And I copied some of the pictures so you could kind of follow along as we go. And it is called The Girl Who Ran, but you can see that from the cover. I'm going to take the book jacket off, the dust cover or book jacket we call it, because kind of gets in the way when we read the book. I know we do that in the room too. I miss you guys. All right, so this is what it looks like without the book jacket. It's a little more boring, huh? Kind of reminds me of The Wild Robot. Oh, I miss that book. Miss you guys. All right, so this is about kind of like it seems to me a lot of biographies are. It's about someone who was brave and lived in a certain period of time and had to overcome some things. So it has all the elements that make a great narrative story, but it's real. It's about someone's life and events that actually happened. So let's get started. This is called The Girl Who Ran. And this is the first year I've ever read this book. It's a new book for me. So I enjoyed it. I learned and I enjoyed. The Girl Who Ran. And the author is Frances Poletti and Christina Yee. And it's illustrated by Susanna Chapman. And it's about Bobby Gibb. Her name is Bobby, and she was the very first person to run in the Boston Marathon. Boston Marathon is a really, really famous race, and it's like 26 miles, I think, is a marathon. And she was the very first woman to do it, and she kind of had to sneak because at that time, right around 1966, women weren't allowed to run in it. So let's find out how she got that done. Bobby loved to run. Into the woods, over the hills, through the fields, and by streams, Bobby's feet flew across the earth. All of her friends ran and played too, until one day they stopped. So she ran with her pack, going higher and higher, just her and the sound of the wind in the fire. One day, when Bobby was grown, her father took her to Boston, where she saw not a few, but hundreds of people moving as one, kindred spirits running miles together. Bobby knew she had to be a part of it. There she is, she's very excited, talking to her dad about it. But her parents were afraid. Girls can't run marathons, don't you know that? What a strange idea. Don't be silly. It's so unladylike. Mighty odd hobby for a girl. You'll hurt yourself. Good girls don't run. All Bobby knew was that her legs wanted to move. She went to the woods to think. Can I run that far? Bobby asked herself, her feet starting to pound the ground. I have to try. She ran further and further, and she ached and perspired, and the world whooshed by like the wind in the fire. So I'm going to go out to the woods to practice my running. So Bobby left home with a secret plan. Away from her parents' disapproving eyes, she would train for the marathon. She traveled across the country, running in a new place every day. She ran through lush forests in Ohio, vast plains in Nebraska and Kansas, majestic mountains in Wyoming and Montana. She ran with wild horses across sweeping valleys and stood on Rocky Mountain peaks. At night, she would set up camp and lie on the ground, close to the earth, tired and happy. She kept running every day. becoming stronger and stronger. Then a letter arrived that made her stop in her tracks. Her application for the marathon had been rejected. Not allowed. It's against the rules. Not possible. Women cannot run marathons. Long distance. What if you injure yourself? The rules are there for a reason. But Bobby was determined to run. She said she would do it. She wasn't a liar. She'd show them by running like the wind in the fire. She returned home and told her parents of her plans. "Have you gone crazy?" cried her dad. Bobby knew he wouldn't be the only one to think so. If she couldn't run as a woman, she would have to blend in with the men. She bought a pair of men's running shoes, the only kind there was, since they didn't make them for girls. She borrowed her brother's Bermuda shorts and found a shapeless sweatshirt to wear over her black swimsuit. As Bobby pulled up the hood, her long hair was hidden, and the disguise was complete. Bobby needed a ride to the starting line, but her dad refused. He stormed out of the house, and everything was quiet. She didn't know what to do. There was a knock at Bobby's bedroom door. "Let's go," her mom said. Bobby's mom left her at the starting line. After running a few miles to warm up, Bobby looked for a place to hide until the race started. Her heart beat faster and faster. Would she get caught? See her hiding in the bushes there. Let me put my pictures down. Bang! The race began. She sprang from the bushes. Hundreds of feet were hitting the ground, and Bobby's were among them. So she ran with the pack, going higher and higher, the world whooshing by like the wind in the fire. Soon Bobby heard murmurs. She'd been spotted. She nervously turned to look at the men running around her, but they were all smiles. "Hey, are you running the whole way?" one asked. "I hope so," said Bobby, but she was getting hot. "I'm afraid I'll get thrown out if I take my sweatshirt off." The men replied, "We won't let anyone throw you out. It's a free road." They were on her side. Bobby grinned and she took off her sweatshirt. Word spread quickly throughout the course. A girl was running. They couldn't believe it. "It's a girl. Do us proud. Go, girl, go. Show them how it's done. You're my hero. Amazing. Keep going. We're all behind you. We can't stop now. Incredible. No way." The cheers were a roar, and Bobby needed it. The ground was hard. Her new shoes were stiff, and the final hill was still ahead. But she couldn't stop now, though she ached and perspired, and the world whooshed on by like the wind in the fire. Bobby gritted her teeth as the road began to rise up before her. Closing her eyes, she imagined she was back in Montana, running up the mountains, the soft earth under her feet. Her throat burned from thirst, and every step was agony to her blistered feet. It was time for the last push. 30 steps, then 20, then 10. And she crossed the finish line, guys. Now what's going to happen? Bobby had done it. Bobby had done it. She was caught up in a whirlwind of reporters, radio presenters, and photographers. History had been made. Hearts and minds were forever changed. And look at this. Her parents were hugging her. They were proud of her, even though they didn't really want her to do it at first. After she did it, they were proud. The next day, Bobby woke up early. Everything was quiet and still. 2 days earlier, the world had thought it was impossible for her to run a marathon. What else could be proven wrong? Bobby was looking forward to finding out. She put on her shoes and headed out into the woods, running down familiar paths. She ran with a strength only hope can inspire, just her and the sound of the wind in the fire. So Bobby loved to run, and she didn't let people tell her, oh, no, you can't do that. It's too hard. And she stuck with what she really wanted to do, and I really admire that. Also, if you have a chance to read this book sometime, there is a timeline in it that talks about the Boston Marathon and Bobby's life. And then Bobby wasn't done with just winning a marathon or running a marathon. She went on to college and she became a lawyer. And then after she became a lawyer, she decided to also do like some doctor-like research to study diseases from like brain tissue and nerves. So not only was she very determined and very brave, she also had a very good brain, just like all of you guys. So I wish I was here to talk to you guys about this book because I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Give me some feedback on it. Miss you guys. Talk to you soon.